Step forward, please. Thank you.
Good evening. So I'm Charlotte Holtram. I'm NHS consultant. I've been years and I practice anaesthesia. It's almost a full year ago now that I asked demonstrations.
Sorry, I do. Can we just make some adjustments? Not being carried to all members.
Sit.
I think I've got a very loud voice, so I think it's. They may have compensated for me. I do apologise.
Testing. The other way.
Is it acceptable to sit down? I think it might be easier that you're closer to the microphone. I think that's probably the technical solution.
Now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so as I was saying, so I'm an intensive care medicine and anaesthetic consultant in the NHS. It's been a year now since I came to ask this council to demonstrate its commitment to its climate responsibilities by ensuring that food provided by council events is plant-based. Since then, city councils in Exeter, Oxford, Norwich and Winchester joined Cambridge, ensuring that their own catering is as climate-friendly as possible. Despite receiving a positive response to my question last year, I'm not aware that Lancaster City Council has made any progress on the issue. In the UK, we eat excessive quantities of animal products, including twice the global average of meat, an average which the Eat Lancet Commission has already recommended halving. As a doctor, I see the consequences of this every single day. Chronic disease due to poor diet has become the primary driver of ill health in Britain. I've watched this accelerate exponentially throughout my relatively brief career. It's rare I see any patient who doesn't have a diet-related condition, and most have several. There's obesity, blood pressure, cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, gallstones, diverticulitis, heart disease, stroke, several types of cancers. Patients are overfed and undernourished, with severe micronutrient deficiencies being commonplace. Over 9 out of 10 people don't meet the government's recommended minimum fibre intake. And it's simply, we just need to eat more plants. We know the public is increasingly aware of the impact of their diets. More and more people state they want to cut the amount of meat and dairy they consume. There are barriers standing in their way. As a public body who presumably care about public health as well as responding to the climate emergency, I believe it's our duty to lead by example and remove these barriers, along with actively promoting healthy, sustainable eating. This may be at the council-run outlets, here within the council itself, by making plant-based eating a central focus of the website, or in active advertising, such as with billboards like Manchester City Council did. There are many ways we can encourage, support and enable people to make healthier, more sustainable food choices. So my question is, do.
Thank you very much. Now, did the wish to?
Yeah.
Yes. Can I ask Mr. Bailey, please, to step forward? I think we had agreed that the questions would be after both speakers had spoken. Thank you very much.
Very much. My name's Pete Bailey. For about 20 years, I grew up in the Lynn Valley. I'm a retired nurse. I'm a profession now, but my career was in nursing. So my question is the same proposal, really, which is that Lancaster joins the ranks of other councils in the UK who've committed to encouraging plant-based options at council functions. Council will understand that as a society we cannot meet our climate obligations without making some sacrifices in the way that we live. It must also be clear that a lot of the impact of the changes we must make to ensure any possibility of sustainability will not be politically popular. So this is the dilemma that the council faces: to follow through on the 2019 declaration of a climate emergency with meaningful but possibly unpopular policies, or to shirk your responsibilities for the sake of not rocking the boat. As it happens, going plant-based is the single easiest, most effective change that we can make to the planetary climate impact. The objections that we hear to this are, we've heard that making council meetings plant-based is that people should be not dictated to and allowed freedom to choose. Now, a proposal to make council meetings plant-based is not really about telling people what to do. It's the council showing responsible leadership and demonstrating practical action that's easily achievable on the climate situation, which is something that, following the 2019 declaration, the council is already committed to. The council could easily lead the way by improving and increasing plant-based options in council-run public venues. It's only when caterers make options available that people can exercise real choice. Another objection that we frequently hear is that it costs money to provide plant-based options. On a personal level, I can promise you that's not true. I'm on a very low income and manage fine. On a wider level, one reason why it is cheaper to provide traditional meat-based foodstuffs is that farming receives £3 billion a year annually subsidies, of which half of which goes to subsidising animal produce. So that money we would propose is better directed to providing plant-based options. So my question is, will the council ensure that the food and drink provided at council events is the most climate-friendly, that is to say, plant-based food? Will the council take these steps to support and facilitate residents in making healthier and more sustainable diet choices?
May I ask the leader to respond, please?
Certainly. I have a red light on my microphone. Going to be a problem? A good sign. Okay. So I will make my remarks referring to some notes that I've taken. But before I do, I would just like to apologise, especially to you, Doctor. Second time you've been and been on the receiving end of some bad. Apologise that some of our colleagues have this time when they stayed and jeered at you last time. So anyway, to my prepared remarks. So firstly, I would like to extend my thanks to Ms Brownwood, not present, but question received in writing, Dr Holtram and Mr Bailey for coming and to addressing the council and for once again drawing our attention to the benefits of increasing the proportion of plant-based food in our diets. To respond to some of the points that you have made, regards to health. Whilst we have to make careful caveats about highly processed meat substitutes, it is well known that increasing our consumption of plant-based foods is good for our health and for our well-being. We recognise Dr Holtram's expertise and acknowledge too that chronic illness in relation to poor diet comes with both a human cost and a financial cost to our strained public health service. It is important to note that whilst the City Council, as a district council, does not have a health remit, we work closely with partners in the County Council, NHS and voluntary sector. We'll always be glad to promote healthy eating and diet where the opportunity arises. With regards to the climate, the rearing of cattle in particular has an extraordinary impact on our environment, including deforestation, greenhouse gas emission and water pollution. Cattle are also extremely resource intensive, with each head of cattle consuming thousands of litres of fresh water and tons of feed, which can include grain and other materials suitable for human consumption. As Mr Bailey notes, livestock farmers need to be supported via a just transition into a world where far less meat and dairy are consumed. It's important that we remember the difficulties our farming communities face, the long traditions they honour, and the important role that UK farming plays in reducing the carbon impact from importing food. It is also worth remembering too that the practice of importing fruit and veg out of season from across the globe has a significant carbon footprint. In regards to the Council's catering offer, as you have noted, we as a council cater for events and operate a small but excellent collection of cafes, such as the Print Room, Williamson's Park and Saltaire Leisure Centre. In each case, we provide vegan and plant-based options as part of our core offer. These options are not relegated to special asks to make of our chefs, but are available with 50% of the menu vegetarian and 30% vegan as a standard. Ms Brownwood advises us in her written question that plant-based is the future and that our society is trending toward ever greater consumption of plant-based foods. We welcome that trend and regularly monitor the uptake of plant-based options to ensure that our commercial operation is viable and effective in catering to the preferences and requirements of our customers. As demand increases, the customer should expect that the range of options will expand as well. Stepping into a context of some wider issues, all of those asking questions of us today have challenged us to consider the important role that food plays in our ambition to tackle climate change. I would say to you that we are very much alive to that issue, and we have been for some time, particularly following on from the recommendations of our citizens' jury. I would also note that the climate emergency is one of several crises that our district is facing, and that other challenges, including food poverty, the use of food banks, and the cost of living crisis, are all present in effect too. We don't have the luxury of meeting only one of these crises at a time. And indeed, they are often complex and interconnected issues. As a council, we look for ways that our actions can simultaneously step us toward, for example, tackling climate change and striving towards food justice. Our food-related efforts to meet the climate emergency therefore include, but go beyond considering our in-house catering. For example, our climate emergency local review includes amendments to existing policies which encourage developers to provide opportunities for local food growing space. We also recognise how important local plant-based food production is to sustainability and to affordability. To that end, the Council provides funding or partnership to support to local organisations such as LESS and the Food Poverty Alliance. On a recent tour of our council depot at the White Lund estate, I saw firsthand how some of our enormous greenhouses, which were formerly used as nurseries to grow our bedding plants, are now being used by Food Future Sustainable Food Network. This is now a place where food is grown and training is provided to people to replicate that work elsewhere. On our cabinet, Councillor Joanne Ainscoe has recently accepted the Environmental Services portfolio. She will be bringing a Master's in Sustainable Food and Natural Resources to bear when she undertakes a review of how the Council's allotments are managed. This will once again feed into both meeting the climate emergency and promoting food justice through community food projects. Ultimately, what is needed is a firm concept for a sustainable North Lancashire plate, an understanding that locally grown, seasonable produce is the cornerstone of a healthy and socially responsible, environmentally sustainable diet.
Thank you, Councillor Black. May I, the questioners have the right to ask one supplementary question. Can I ask Dr. Hultron, do you wish to ask a supplementary question of the leader?
So it's got quite a very comprehensive answer and it's very nuanced, so thank you for that. Yes, the bits that the theme of that for me was we're doing a lot and the implication being we're doing enough. I suppose my supplementary question is, could you do more?
I think the answer to that has to be yes. And I would hope that what you heard wasn't just that we're doing a lot and that's enough. I would hope that, or what I try to communicate is we're doing a lot because we have a lot to do, and we continue to push for and strive for doing better. I hope that was the spirit I communicated to you.
One question.
Mr. Bailey, do you wish to ask a supplementary question, please?
Yes, thank you very much. That really was brilliant answer, and I would like, if we can, to have that forwarded to us, if that's possible. That's great. Thank you for plugging Food Futures and the work that they do. It is amazing. So my question really is, if we want to take this forward as a local voter and somebody who is a friend of Food Futures and has quite a lot of input into what they're doing, is if there is anyone on the council who would like to talk to me, because I'm the local voter, I'm the Lancaster voter here, I just make myself available. You can get my contact details from council Debbie. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. I'm sure there will be people in the room that are keen to talk to you. I imagine not least of which will be Councillor Rainscoe, who I mentioned before. I'm sure she'd be delighted to have a conversation. A lot of the work that Food Futures ties in with her for.
Thank you very much to all the two speakers, and recognise that the third was unable to attend tonight, but thank you for your attention and your questions. Thank you very much indeed.